we're going to talk about this today. This is our end product, which is a bed full of onions. And I'm going to talk to you about how we got from a bed that was empty to this. So, you get your bed, you're going to clear out all the weeds and everything and chop in any cover crop like we did when you guys were here. And then we took that fertilizer that you guys made and just went over the whole bed lightly with that. And then came along and made these furrows in the bed with the handle of a hoe, actually. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see them very well, there are 3 of them, because onions like about 10 to 12 inches between rows. So we did that, and then the onions that I started inside didn't turn out very well, so I actually went to the country store up in Freeland and bought some onion sets. They come in a bunch like this. These probably were grown somewhere like Texas, somewhere warm, and then they ship them up here for us to grow. So there are 2 types of onions that are available at the country store and in the world. There are sweet onions and storage onions. And sweet onions are like your Walla Wallas that you guys have probably heard of. These are a storage onion called copra, and they will store longer because they don't have as much sugar in them. So if you wanted to store your onions over the winter, you're going to want to get a storage onion instead of a sweet onion. But maybe you could get both kinds and store some and eat some fresh. So you can see this little onion. It's got quite a lot of root on it. So what you can do actually is go about 1 inch down the root, and then you're going to pinch it off. Okay? You want to make sure that it has enough root that it can get the water that it needs, but not too much root, because if the root gets bent up when you plant it like this, like a J, that's called J rooting, aptly named. And then it'll continue to grow, the roots will grow up and they'll actually grow into the onion sometimes, and it'll just not store that way and it won't grow very well. Okay, so I'm going to plant this up to about here. You can see where it kind of changes from the dead outer skin. And the main goal is to not cover up this top part where the new growth is going to be coming out of here. Okay, so you want to be below that for sure. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 actually to show you. I'm going to make your nice hole, and we broke this up really nicely. It's really easy for me to stick my finger really far down in it, and that's what you want. You want nice soft soil for the roots to be able to grow down. So I'm going to make that hole nice and big and make sure that the roots stay below the onion. And then I'm going to cover it up and kind of snug it. You're not going to push it down really hard, just snug it up a little bit so that the roots all have contact with the soil. And we're going to go about 6 inches over and do another one. If you could do 4 inches and they'd still be fine, they'd just be smaller. So if you give them a little more room, they get a little bit bigger. Okay, and these don't look too awesome right now, but in a week or so they'll perk up and start growing some new growth, and then eventually in the summer they're going to be onions that are hopefully about this big, and we're going to have them for the school lunch in September when we see you again. And I think that's all about onions, so see you soon. Fish.